as you hear me. And the topic I have for today is legal issues in artificial intelligence, digital innovation, and emerging paradigms in artistic production. I am very happy that the program was changed and we had Peter come and present before me because he has really brought out issues regarding AI and digital innovation as they currently are and where we are headed to in the future. So as I go through the legal issues, then I'm sure we understand where we stand as creatives and as people, practitioners, and policy makers within the creative industry. Now, I will be defining a few things, and in my paper, I have fuller definitions. The first one is artificial intelligence, and what exactly is it? When we think about artificial intelligence, most of us think it is such a huge animal that can make miracles. But in essence, it is not. It is just a combination of knowledge that is brought together, turned into arithmetic organization, and then it gives you back what to do with it. There's nothing new in AI. It's internet, but faster. It is collection of knowledge that is just together and can respond to you in a more specific and targeted way. So when it comes to AI, we have several formats or platforms for generative AI. We have one that is for general use, the examples of Gemini and ChatGPT. And then we have language generative AI that are specifically geared towards improving language. Whenever we were having the first presentation on AI, one of the things that was noted with regards to AI and human nature is that in human nature, we are prone to making mistakes. And that is one of the things that AI aims to eradicate. So when it comes to language, that is one of the lowest fruits that they targeted. How can we help humans polish their language, make it better? And then we had examples of AI that help with language generation, polishing our language, giving us proper grammar and helping us polish whatever we need to polish. Maybe someone can help with that the animal will stop blinking. And then we have image and video generative AI. These ones will, some of us have iPhones, right? And we have Siri. Siri is one of the earliest inventions of AI, where you can take your phone and using language, you can give a simple command and something is done on your device. We also have customer service these days that are AI. You don't have to go into calling Safaricom for Safaricom to give you a response. There is already a created persona who can give you responses in video or audio to assist you with whatever you need. So that is AI generated. Oh, okay, thank you. And we have digital innovation. Digital innovation is the larger body of using technological tools assist us in running, improving, or reshaping processes. Now, technology is not just internet. When most of us think about technology, we think internet, we think computers. Back in the 1700s, when the printing press was invented, that was technology. Now, those things are overtaken by time, but it was technology. It is still technology. So technology is any invention that comes in to help us improve or reshape mechanical processes or even to make them more effective. And lastly, what are the emerging paradigms? Paradigms in this sense, I'll be looking at shifting models in the way artistic productions are done, how people conceive ideas in this current dispensation, how those ideas are being influenced by AI in terms of distribution and in terms of storage, and so on and so forth. One of the things I am really grateful to be existing in this era is I think we are living and experiencing an inflection point in history where there is a change in the way people do things. And AI is influencing every sphere of our lives, and that will inform many ways. How is the law going to be stretched to cover some of the things that are coming up because of AI? Again, do we need law really to be changed, or what we have, is it adequate to cover legal issues? Again, the question I'll be asking is, do we really have new legal issues that are arising from AI and its interaction with artificial intelligence? Now, once we have the projection running, there is a pattern that we have seen for years in copyright, decades actually, and centuries. Whenever there is a significant change in technology, copyright will always follow closely thereafter. One, either through being stretched to cover the new inventions through interpretation, or you will have new legal frameworks being made to cover those technological changes. I have picked examples from the 1700s up to now. In the 1700s, when you think about the first copyright law, because copyright is very important for artistic production, the first copyright law came as a result of printing press, whereby you had printing press becoming accessible to people and people producing material at a commercial scale. Now, booksellers were having problems, especially in London, whereby literary material would be reproduced without the authority of booksellers putting them out of business. What they did is they appealed to Parliament, and Parliament came up with the first copyright law, which was called the Statute of Anne in 1710. Now, what are we learning from this history? As a result of a technological change, the legal framework for copyright and the codification of reproduction right had to be codified in law. Then we had in the 1880s photography, and a question was asked to the courts. Whenever someone takes a photograph, how does that constitute an expression of their, how does it constitute an original expression of their mind? And then before that, it was inconceivable how someone taking a photo with a mechanical camera would be considered a copyrightable idea. This person is not the subject of the image. In fact, why is it that the subject of the image is not the owner of the copyright? And courts interpreted saying that where a person instructs another to either pose in a certain way, adjust the lighting, and chooses specific elements of the photography, that constitutes originality. And therefore, that is why copyright belongs to the person who takes a photograph and not the subject of the photography. Then in 1980s, this one had a lot of drama. In 1980s, we had the VCRs, the cassette recorders. I didn't get the chance to experience that era, but I'm told it was an amazing era. So Sony was sued because they were making VCRs. They were sued by a broadcaster. This broadcaster alleged that whenever people would record broadcasted material onto VCRs, Sony was enabling these clients of Sony to infringe on copyrighted material that was being produced by the broadcasters. Now, courts at this point came up with the doctrine of fair use, or what we use, either fair use or fair dealing, depending on whatever jurisdiction you like to refer to, whereby it was said that sometimes material may be your copyright, yes, and you're entitled to your rights. However, the public might use it because there is need for public domain to benefit from artistic work and copyright. If you will notice throughout the thread from 1700s to the 1980s to the 2000s, the courts will be striking a balance between, as a creative, yes, you have the right to your work, but what is the purpose of your work? Are we going to reward you and exclude the public completely from using your work, or are we going to create a balance between your work as a creative, you extracting the commercial benefit of your work, and also ensure that the public benefits from artistic work and artistic creations. Now, the question I ask in my paper is the 2020s and the inception and continued use of and mainstreaming of AI, is it an inflection point? I'll give you the answer. I think not. It is a huge thing, but it is not really an inflection point. I have discussed the oldest bargain that has existed in copyright between balancing copyright for artistic and copyright producers against public domain. And I hope we will be able to answer ourselves by the end of this presentation and when you read the paper, if really AI is causing us to get to a point where the legal issues arising require us to completely cut out the public in order to protect our artistic productions, or do we need to allow access to our artistic productions for AI to develop for the benefit of the public? I have divided my work into 3 tracks. The first one, I'll be looking at input. What exactly goes into AI and digital innovation? And whatever this input is, how does it, what legal issues come up from it? Secondly, I'll be looking at the output. What do we get from digital innovation, AI? And from this input, what are the legal issues and how can we either apply the current laws or do we need new legislations? Lastly, I'll be looking at the processes outside AI and digital innovation that as creatives we have in our day-to-day operations and in our day-to-day dealings of our artistic works. What are the legal issues arising that are because of AI or digital innovation? In the first tract of input, I will not go into how AI is trained because we got a touch of that in the morning. However, one thing you will notice is that whenever AI is being trained, there is 2 stages. The pre-training fine-tuning, which then eventually leads to you putting in a prompt, and then that prompt gives you whatever you want, probably in the way you want it or not. In the pre-training, there will be scraping of data, either from the internet or licensed data. Now, most of us have gone through platforms such as YouTube, social media, and we are able to access information digitally that does not belong to us. The same way you're able to access information digitally is the same way that platforms that create AI and some of these digital innovations can access the information. You consume it for whatever purpose you're consuming it. For them, it is commercial. They will access that information, extract it, and use it to train AI. Then, after that, they will collect the information, format it in what is called tokenization. So, for instance, if they take a piece of poetry or a piece of music, they will convert that into mathematic algorithms, and then that is what is stored in their systems. Not exactly your musical piece, but an exact replica in mathematical codes. Now, at that point, you ask yourself, if it is an exact replica of your work, but in mathematical codes, is that a copy of your work? We've not yet been able to answer that question. There are some people who lean towards that's actually a copy of your work because it has your original expressions, just that they've been transformed and adapted in a different format. Others will say it is not because you don't know how to come up with code unless you do. Then, after the work has been tokenized, cleaned, they will store it. The next stage is fine tuning. Once the AI system has been fed with that huge data set, then it will be fine tuned for whatever that AI or digital innovation is meant to offer. They will either train it to pick up language and notice patterns for whatever reason they are training the AI. Again, we have areas of memorization. If you take a piece of Shakespeare piece and put it on ChatGPT or a different AI, there are some that will give you a word for word of whatever stanzas that come after. Others will not give you. This has raised the issue of memorization. Some digital innovations and some AI will take copyrighted work and memorize it. So that means a copyrightable material has been stored in a platform that is not authorized by the creator of the work. There are others that have restrictions and safeguards that, in as much as they have converted your work to mathematical tokens, then they have not memorized the work and they cannot reproduce it. So what have we seen that is happening? One of the infringements that is happening for AI is reproduction. Your work is scraped from wherever you have posted it or shared it, and then it is adapted, it is converted to a format that you did not intend. Then after that, it might be stored and distributed. You have AI platforms and creators sharing data between each other to the creation of work. Then the questions that we have raised, there are ways to address that. So how do we address the issue of if you've posted your works on, for example, KMF material that is posted on EduTV or the KMF YouTube channel, what can we do? I have proposed 4 ways that we can address the issue of copyrighted material being used for AI training. And the first one is closed fair dealing list. So in this requires government intervention where the government reviews our existing copyright framework to introduce a very limited scope for how digital platforms can access this material and use it. This will require, one, the material to be, for them to state why are they picking the material, how are they going to use it, and if they need permits from the owner of the material. Again, we can have an option of flexible fair use. In flexible fair use, the government does not provide a list on what this material can be used for. Rather, they rely on principles. Now, the principles I have proposed are 4. One is for the frameworks to provide for a purpose and character of use. So if the material is being used for training, purely for training, someone can have the option to allow their material to be used purely for training but not to be stored. Then they will look at the nature of the copyrighted work. If it is work that is already in the public domain, then that can be, to some extent, used for training. Then we have the amount and substantiality of the work. This relates to the quality and quantity. How much are you using from somebody's copyrightable or copyrighted material to train your AI? And then lastly, the effect upon use. If you use some copyrighted work to train an AI program, and at the end of it, it produces a work that puts this creative out of work or is competing in the marketplace at the same level as this creative, then there is no need for that to be considered fair use because you're producing a commercially usable material or a material that will replace the creative in the market. Then the other option that should be last option is the most permissive, whereby we put the aspect of public domain and advancement of technology behind or as a sub to creative protection. In this case, we allow unlimited use of AI work to train AI until we get to the point where we can actually say AI has developed and can be used optimally. Now that is last case scenario, but it is a mode that some countries like Japan have picked to use because they consider technological advancements to be of more importance than protecting creative works. Then we have the 4th option, which is legislative opt-out. In the legislative opt-out, this is a sub of the common and most permissive authorization. In this one, yes, AI systems will be allowed to access whatever material they would like to train on. However, once they have accessed the material as a creative, you have an option to opt out, or rather to restrict the use of your work for that purpose. So the four proposed solutions to infringing of copyrighted work is fair dealing, that is completely restricted; flexible fair dealing, whereby we use principles or instead of a defined list; and then we have the most permissive, that is allowing complete use of material by AI. As a response again to the issue of use of copyrighted work to train AI, we also have an option that is not really legislative, because we know legislation takes very long to put in place. It also requires a lot of lobbying, and once it is put in place, it is not flexible. We have a market response whereby there is a licensing option to convert the legal question into an ordinary commercial one. How does this work? Creatives take the initiative to license their work to AI platforms for use for training. We have, as we've had for years, Creative Commons. So Creative Commons is where you put out your work out in the public domain. However, you restrict that this work can be used just for enjoyment, but you cannot reproduce, you cannot download, you cannot distribute. That can also be an option whereby specific works are licensed out to platforms and companies that develop and generate AI, and then they are given a very restricted license. That is a market response that is driven by the market and the creatives themselves. The next issue, so the first issue we've handled is the issue of infringement in AI training. The second issue is on the issue of data protection and biometric privacy. We looked at, there are several forms of AI, and one of them is image and video generative AI. These ones will clone and make a likeness of a person's voice, a person's likeness, and they will even capture things like dance movements and body movements to create generated characters. The Kenya Data Protection Act defines biometric data, such as your voice and your genetic makeup, to be sensitive data. And what is required by this law is that whenever someone is using your biometric data or sensitive data, you have to give an explicit informed consent. You have to be informed, why is your data being used? And then you have to be very express that I have allowed these people to use my data. Now, while we have a very good law and the principles are very good law, our biggest challenge is in implementation. Most of the AI systems are not Kenyan, they are extrajudicial. So then how does our data protection office and the commissioner enforce this very good law that we have, so that Kenyan data is not used to train some of these systems? We can have regulations that require only deployment of systems that are compliant with Kenyan laws. We've seen countries that are using that system. As long as your AI system is compliant with the Kenyan legislation, then you can deploy it for use within the country. If not, then that is not possible. And then just to rush very quickly because my time is gone, we have the issue of output. Now, when it comes to output, this has been dealt by Kenyan, not courts as such, but the Copyright Tribunal. It is not yet a binding and decisive action, but we have at least a tunnel and a light at the end of the tunnel. You will find that most of the times when AI has generated material, the question comes up as to what is the threshold as to how much the human contribution is towards the generated material. Beyond the prompt, how much of your original expression is captured in the end result. And what we have currently is that as long as there is no substantive creative input, then that cannot be considered original character and therefore capable of being protected. This is a legal issue that I think will take quite some time for people to settle on what actually constitutes the threshold for substantive threshold for input or substantial creative input towards a character. Then lastly, we have the issue of moral rights and stylistic imitation. Ideally, whenever a human produces an artistic piece of work, you have the moral right. That is the right to have attribution for your work and the right to stop others from either using your work in a way that will either taint your name or in a way that it was not intended for. When it comes to AI, a lot of material that is being used to train and that is actually generated at the end of the prompt has studied the statistical irregularities of the data it has been used to train with. For example, when it comes to music, it has been trained on the chord progressions, the rhythm, and the ornamentation. So even though it might not give as an output the word for word, lyric for lyric song, it will give something that is very similar, and if compared side by side, would actually point towards this is an AI generation of a specific artist's work. Now, this brings up a moral question that hasn't been tackled before. Yes, it might not be the word for word work that you had initially produced as an artist, but the style and the unique irregularities and the unique codifications that are attributed to you as an artist, then how do you protect that morally so that you prevent your work and your styles and your originality being abused or used in a way that is not what it was intended for? When it comes to processes around AI, where other legal issues such as licensing, contracting, and collective managements arise, what I have proposed is that one, going forward as creatives, we need to ensure the same way when it comes to contracts, we have to ensure we have defined what the payment terms are. It has now to become a trend and a requirement that you will put in the terms. How do you expect your work to be used when it comes to AI tools? If you are allocating ownership, for example, a work that has been generated with the aid of AI, then how do you attribute the ownership? Those have to become now a standard of practice for us in whenever we are contracting and licensing out our works. Again, for collective management organizations, they have to pick up the task now to ensure that the works and the creative artists that they manage their work is not subject to abuse. What does this mean? There has to be a registration process for all works that have been created with AI assistance. And then there has to be, on the second level, a process of licensing of works by creatives, if so allowed to be used by AI and for AI purposes. And then lastly, the last legal issue I've looked at is the issue of liability and accountability. We have liability that is criminal, whereby AI can be used to steal identity or voice and likeness cloning, which brings up issues of criminality that go beyond compensation and civil liability. And then when it comes to civil liability, the new thing that we see coming up is the chain of attribution. So you realize, unlike previous civil liability where one person would do one thing, for example, reproduce, and the law had a response. However, there was no response for a chain of violations. For example, if an image is generated, there is the maker of the system who used your data to learn or to train the AI, and there is the person who has actually prompted that, and then eventually this distribution. So we need to look into the legal issues of a chain of contribution such that our laws are either stretched to cover attribution of liability for these civil violations. And then the issue of commercial and licensing, I think the same principle will be applied as for collective management. and individual contracting for creatives. Now, the last thing is, as we do that, let's think about the balance. Yes, we would like to protect creative works and creative productions, but also creative works and creators stand to benefit from digital innovation. So we need to create a balance where, as creatives, we're not too restrictive of allowing our works to be used, but also ensuring we benefit from them. Asante sana. That's the end of my presentation.
Thank you very much, Mwende. Mwende has taken us through legal issues in artificial intelligence, digital innovation, and emerging paradigms in artistic production. And she has taken us through the training stages and the infringement of rights and the legal issues that arise. I'm just imagining what happens when you send your piece of music on WhatsApp or some social media, and then you find it has reached 1 million people globally. Whom do you accuse, or how do you go about it? So she has been able to give us solutions, and some of them are not yet established, but on the way. So thank you very much. Mwende, I don't know how you say greetings in your mother tongue. I would like to greet you that way. Those who can greet her, can you greet her now? Aha, thank you. Let's give her 3 claps. 1, 2, 3. Punga. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daktari, too, for that. The next presenter has been one of us since we started these conferences. He is presenting in the 3rd conference, and this is Dr. Marshall Hanning, who is an associate professor of music education at the University of Florida. His research usually focuses on assessment and evaluation of music learning, as well as non-traditional approaches to music teaching. He has been a presenter, as I have said, in the previous KMF conferences and in KMF workshops. As a result, Dr. Hanning has the experience, knowledge, and the capability to guide us or to give us the experience of adjudicators at the KMF. So he's giving us a topic about what we are doing now, because he has been there and he is able to do that. Thank you. Welcome, Prof.
Thank you very much. Let me just get this started. Hopefully my slides will work. If they don't, I will continue to talk, but hopefully we'll have them there. I also want to recognize that I'm presenting this research on behalf of myself and also Dr. Abby Chokera, who is here, who's collaborated with me on this project. I also want to recognize that this is research that is still in progress, so the analysis is still ongoing. What I'm presenting here is a preliminary analysis, and I'll be fully transparent that Dr. Chokera has not yet seen this most recent analysis, so he can tell me if I'm incorrect at any point. He can correct me. The background for this project is that contests and competitions have been a foundational part of music education worldwide, really since we started to see modern music education across the world. They form an opportunity for not only students to develop their skills, to demonstrate their skills, and to receive feedback, but they also provide opportunities to reproduce, transmit, evolve and reconstruct both music and dance traditions. And so they show the students an ability to demonstrate their skills, but also on a larger cultural scale, they provide an opportunity for cultural transmission, exactly as we see here at KMF. That happens also at a number of festivals worldwide. Now, there is a very limited amount of empirical research literature, that is to say, where we've gathered data and draw conclusions from our data about adjudication at these kinds of festivals and contests. What we do have is a fair amount of what we call practitioner literature, which is literature that is written by experts in the field and which should be given deference. It does provide some excellent information, but it provides basically their opinion. So we have some of that literature to draw upon, and certainly the opinions of experts are valuable, but what we don't have is a lot of data to back that up. The practitioner literature does highlight the influence of the individual adjudicator. So the adjudicator's preferences, their individual practices, and their individual experiences tend to heavily influence the way that the adjudication process happens. But again, we don't have a lot of empirical data to back that up. So for this project, what we wanted to do was to provide a little bit of that data. We wanted to investigate the experiences of adjudicators at a national competitive music event. That would be the KMF. You could see there the information about the KMF. And the main question was how participants describe their experiences and practices as adjudicators. So how do adjudicators experience that process of adjudication here at KMF, and how might that apply to other festivals worldwide? This is a transcendental phenomenological design. And so the idea behind a phenomenological design is to take an experience and to distill it down to what's called an essence, to capture the center of that experience for the participants in the way that they go through the process. So we conducted data collection at the National Trainers and Adjudicators Workshop last year, not 2026, but 2025. At Tom Mboya University. I know some of you who I interviewed for this project are in the audience. Thank you very much for your participation. We appreciate it. If you recognize your words on the screen, thank you very much for contributing them. There were 9 participants, all of whom were adjudicators at the national level. And we conducted semi-structured interviews, which is to say that we began with a series of questions that were the same, but then based on what the participants said, we evolved the questions to follow and gather more information going from there. The interviews ranged from 26 minutes to 78 minutes with an average of 42 minutes across the 9 participants. So phenomenological data are presented in 2 pieces. The first piece is what's called a textural description. The textural description attempts to capture what participants experience. So when they describe the experience of adjudicating, what is that experience like? What are the elements of the experience for them? I want to recognize at this point that this data set was incredibly rich. There were so many wonderful ideas that came out of these interviews and so much important information. It was very difficult to distill this down into something that could be captured in a single presentation or a single paper. And so I'm necessarily omitting a great deal of information in order to capture only the most prominent elements. But there were many, many others that were discussed by the participants. The things that stood out the most, though, were a sense of community, a sense of belonging to a community, and a sense of responsibility both to that community and to the nation at large. So with the community, the idea that came through from the participants was this idea that they belonged to a community that surrounds the festival. And they were deeply engaged in that community really from the very beginning of their experiences. All of these participants who are national adjudicators had been involved with the festival since their youth, in many cases, 20, 30, 40 years involved with the festival. And so they were deeply engaged with the community that surrounds the festival, not only as adjudicators, but also as participants, as trainers, as community members, in some cases as members of the executive committee at various points, in other roles associated with the festival. So they brought to the adjudication experience not only their knowledge as adjudicators, but their engagement with the festival in many of these different roles. And so the quote that I found that I thought captured that the best was this quote that says, "With time, it becomes a part of you." It was very clear that for all of these adjudicators, the festival was a part of them. It was not merely something that they did, but it was something that they saw themselves as being a part of and something that they saw as being a part of them. You can also see here the feeling of community among the adjudicators as they interacted with each other. So one of the participants said, if I'm limited, you boost me. If I have something I cannot adjudicate, you'll do it. So we help one another to come out with a verdict. You contribute to each other's knowledge and work. And again, that was echoed by many of the participants. I've chosen one quote here to represent a great deal of material from all of the participants that demonstrated how they work together with other adjudicators, how they work together with other stakeholders to create this wonderful festival together as a community. The second main theme of the participants' experiences at the festival was a sense of responsibility. And this, again, was very deeply embedded in almost everything that the participants said throughout their interviews. The sense of responsibility to the adjudication profession or to the role of adjudicator, a sense of responsibility to the festival as an institution, sense of responsibility to the students and learners who are at the festival, and a sense of responsibility to the nation and to the impact that the festival has beyond even those who are here. So you can see some of the quotes here. One of the things that came out of this sense of responsibility was the need for preparation. I was extremely struck by how much preparation the adjudicators do in terms of studying the set pieces, seeking out information on a variety of musical traditions and cultural dances, seeking out information on all different sorts of musical backgrounds so that they're prepared to adjudicate whatever's put in front of them. And so you can see here, you cannot assess what you have no idea about. Sometimes you need to learn how to do it. And many of these participants spent a great deal of time and effort learning how to adjudicate effectively. And so you can see just below that, one of the participants who said, just the scope of expertise you're expected to have, I don't think it's possible for anyone really, it's a lot. And that was a common theme also, especially for those who are adjudicating music and dance, because of the diversity of classes that are in the music and dance category, the knowledge that adjudicators have to have is immense, and they felt the weight of that responsibility. And you can see, I love this last quote also, so I must equip myself first so that I can give a good service to the KMF and also to the nation and serve the Kenyan child in the right way. So that idea that they have to equip themselves, they're responsible to be prepared. It's not someone else's responsibility or the festival's responsibility to prepare them, but their own responsibility to ensure that they have the tools that they need to be successful. So that's the textural description. That describes what the participants' experiences were like. The second piece of phenomenology is a structural description, and the structural description tries to capture pieces of the environment or pieces of the context that lead to the experiences that the participants had. So the sense of community and the sense of responsibility were their experiences. The structural description tries to explain what is the context that leads them to feel that way. And there were two themes here also. One of them was community knowledge, and the other one is festival organization. So the first theme of community knowledge is very closely related to the theme of community that was a part of the textual description. But that community I'm positioning as a feeling of belonging, a feeling of engagement with the community. Whereas in the structural description, this community knowledge is the practices, the norms, the traditions, the processes of the festival and of the community surrounding the festival. So not so much the community itself, but the structures that that community has created. And the thing that struck me very much was that these structures and processes and practices are very predominantly implicit. That is, that they're not communicated directly. They're not documented. They're not structured. They're just things that are known by the community. And so I'll tell you the story behind this first quote. I got to the final interview, participant number 9 of 9. And I asked, for every participant, I asked, where do you get the criteria by which you adjudicate? Where do those criteria come from? And when I asked that question, every single participant started listing criteria. Well, you do this and you look for this and this and this and this thing. And I said, okay, but where does that come from? And most of the participants just looked at me. They were confused. I don't know where that comes. It comes from everywhere. It goes just what we do. Participant number 9 said, these are written down. I said, great. Can you tell me where they're written down? Because I want to look at them if they're written down. And he thought for a minute and he said, wait, they're not written down. He had this realization in the interview, they're not written down. And here's the quote, I thought they were documented somewhere. And like, no, they're not. They're not. We just know them. And that last piece is what came out of a lot of the participants. We just know. It's just a part of the community. It's a part of the practice. And because they've been involved with the festival for so long, they don't have to have it written down anywhere. They just know. It's just the way that we do things. And you can see also here some of these other quotes. They understand the rules of the game. They come up with some of the rules. So the community works together to create these practices and to evolve these practices over time. But they're created in a way that is very sort of modular and very implicit again. It's not like we sit down and we write down the document in many cases. It's that over time and as we interact with each other, the practices will shift here and there. And then you can see at the end, the workshop unifies our minds to some extent. The workshop was also a very important theme in the interviews. Almost all of the participants mentioned the workshop as the place more than any other where this co-construction takes place. So if we're building all of these rules together as a community, a great deal of that work as a community takes place at the workshop through both the presentations, but also the conversations that take place off the stage, the interactions among all of the participants at the workshop, and the way the workshop helps to transmit those expectations to the next generation of participants and adjudicators. So the last theme, the second theme in the structural description is festival organization. So again, much of what happens at the festival, or much of the experience of the adjudicators, at least in my interpretation, is because of these implicit traditions, implicit practices, but there are some explicit organizational structures that also influence the experience. So we have, of course, the executive committee and the technical committee who have the final word on policy, and they can enact new policies or new structures. But one of the things that was suggested in the interviews, I don't think any participant said this directly, but in looking at what they said, it seemed as though the executive committee is also pulled in slightly to their community. So that if the executive committee tried to enact a law or a process that was against the will of the community and the nation, that would be difficult to do. So the executive committee is structuring things, but they're doing so in communication with the rest of the community. And then you can see here the second participant. I think the different adjudicators at different levels need to really be told on what is expected and what is supposed to be done. Many of the participants expressed a desire for more training and more direct and explicit instructions about how to go about adjudicating. So that part of the organizational structure of the festival may also influence their experiences. And then finally, all of the participants discussed the new adjudication tool. Remember, this was 2025 at the workshop that we collected data. So the tool had only been in use at that time for 1 year. And many of the participants mentioned the new tool as an adjustment to their practice, an adjustment to their experience. So that's an example of the executive committee or the festival organization making an explicit change that had an influence on the participant experiences as well. So you can see all of that structure also comes together to shape those experiences. So as we come to the end of a phenomenological analysis, we try to distill the entire experience down to a single sentence or a single thought. This is 2 sentences, but I tried hard. And again, I want to say there was a huge amount of data in these interviews. So I've necessarily had to condense and eliminate some of the other things to bring out only the central idea as I saw it in my interpretation. And again, Dr. Chokera can correct me later. But this is what I took away. Participants' experience of adjudication at the Kenya Music Festival centered on a deep feeling of personal responsibility to uphold the expectations of the festival community. For me, that was the central idea. They have that sense of responsibility to uphold all of the expectations across the community. And those expectations were shaped by communally constructed traditions that the community puts together, and also influenced by the organizational elements of the festival itself. So a little bit of discussion in connection to previous research. Adjudication, as again in my interpretation, is based on implicit preferences that are influenced by adjudicators' personal dedication and interpretation of the community norms. Every adjudicator takes into consideration the norms of the community, what they've understood about how we do things here at KMF, and then they use their own personal interpretation to enact what their understanding is of those norms. Those norms then are shaped by a number of different stakeholders, including stakeholders whose interests may not be aligned specifically with adjudicating in the most rigorous possible way. because you understand trainers and students and parents and everyone may not necessarily want things to be adjudicated in the most rigorous possible way, or the assessment to be done in a way that would align with standard assessment practices. They want to see something that they understand. They want to see something that they're comfortable with. They want to see something that leads to a result that they feel connected to. And so sometimes that can influence the adjudicator's ability to enact processes that maybe the adjudicator wants to use, but they're having some difficulty with. That includes the new adjudication tool. I know many adjudicators in their experience with the new adjudication tool have had to adjust some things slightly to try to make sure that things align with the expectations of the community. For example, I've seen some adjudicators, and I don't mean to say that this is a bad thing, but I've seen some adjudicators with the new adjudication tool who are using it sort of backwards, which is to say they arrive at a final score first, and then they go back to determine what the components are that will add to that final score. That gets the ranking correct, but one of the challenges with that is if you go back and you say, okay, I need 117 and 119 and 118 to add to whatever I wanted to add to, and then you give to the performers a sheet that says you have a 17 in vocal quality, but a 19 in interpretation, they will go back and now they're going to work on vocal quality and think their interpretation is okay. But in fact, you've just made those numbers up to add to 89% or whatever you wanted. So those practices, because we have to have the correct final score, may not align with what we would like to do to provide the best information to the learners. And so finally, previous research supports that this idea of adjudicator idiosyncrasies, the adjudicator's individuality that comes through in the adjudication, happens across festivals. That's not unique to KMF. That's something that we see across a number of different contexts. Also, inconsistent training and inconsistent marking standards are very common if you look at the literature, and we see a little bit of that here at KMF as well. This community of practice and the implicit norms, that communally constructed practices that I talked about, may also be common in a number of different contexts. So what I'm saying is, what we've learned here at KMF, I think, is applicable to a number of different situations worldwide, because what we're seeing here aligns with what the research would suggest would happen. Now, one thing that I do want to point out, as I'll go to my last slide here, especially at the where did it go? I'm almost done, so I'm going to skip ahead. I want to make sure I find this one point. Adjudicators themselves, my third point here, the adjudicators themselves are ethical, committed, and knowledgeable. And so that was something that came out very strongly in the interviews. These adjudicators want to do the right thing. They want to provide the best possible feedback to the learners so that the students can continue to improve. They want to make sure that they're giving every opportunity to improve the creative economy of Kenya, to improve KMF, to improve our educational system. And so the biggest thing that I took away in terms of suggestions is just to make sure that we continue to evolve our practices and our systems to allow adjudicators to more effectively do what they already want to do. They're already doing some really great things. And the more that we can create explicit rules and explicit training and explicit systems that allow them to do those things more consistently and more effectively, I think we'll continue to see the quality of adjudication improve. It's already quite good, but I think there's always room that we can get a little bit better. I wanted to say again, this was an absolutely fascinating project for me as an outsider to KMF. I've been here for several years now, but I'm still learning about the festival, and especially to learn from people who have been involved for their entire lives and to hear about their experiences was very eye-opening. And I was very grateful again for those who participated and their willingness to share their experiences. This has been a really fabulous project. This was presented last week at the International Society for Music Education World Conference, and I can tell you that it was very well received there. So KMF is becoming more and more known on the international stage, and I hope that we'll continue to be able to do that. Thank you very much for your listening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hanning. And for sure, you've become part of the community. You are part of the community because you've been with us for quite some time. As I appreciate you, you can now have a seat. I also appreciate Dr. Chokera. He has just stepped out for being part of that research on the experience of adjudicators at the KMF. It's true, they feel that they are part of a community and also the sense of responsibility. Anyone who has sat on the bench has felt that. I wish they were here. I can only see about just a few. And maybe Dr. Hanning, you'll have time to speak in a workshop where they are present, especially with the mention of the words ethical, committed, and knowledgeable. They would love to hear that. So thank you very much. I think he has spared some time, some 3 minutes, so we can pick a question or two if there is a reaction. And if there is none, it means it was a good delivery. We will leave at that. It's good for our time. I'll ask my colleague, Dr. Zinale, to come and
about this. So one additional thing, just because I think it's valuable for this. One thing that I do, my research is on assessment in music education, and I run a conference, an international conference every other year on assessment in music education, research related to assessment of music learning. That conference, I'm very happy to say, this time around, we held it all over the world. This time around will be held at the Technical University of Kenya in Nairobi. I'm very happy to bring scholars from around the world here to Kenya to learn about the things that are happening here and also to share their scholarship. If any of you have scholarship related to assessment or evaluation of music learning, or if you know anyone who does, this QR code that is on the screen right now will take you to the call for proposals, and we would love to have you present at this conference if you have anything related to assessment. So please take a moment to scan the QR code if you would like to. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm sure the lady stepping on the podium will be pleased to scan that QR code.
Thank you very much. Dr. Hanning, that is quite pleasant. It is good for you to assess us at our very best and give such results. We are very appreciative of that. Kindly, Dr. Hanning, do not step down. Do you know Professor Akuno? You do. She is not here, but you're here. She is going to present online. So we will request that you chair her session. All right. So we are waiting for Professor Akuno to come online. So once she's up, she will start the presentation. But meanwhile,
I am here, Jackie. I am here, Jackie. I just need to be allowed to share my screen, please.
Yeah. Okay, I can see it. Thanks. So I'm very grateful to be able to speak briefly about Professor Akuno because she's one of the very first people that I met when I first came to Kenya. We had a long-standing partnership with Kenyatta University. But when I arrived in Kenya for the first time, they were trying to find more things for me to do. And so they had reached out to the University of Kenya, where Professor Akuno was serving at that time. And I had an opportunity to go and do some presentations there. And when I arrived, she greeted me. In fact, introduced me to the Vice Chancellor of the Technical University. And I didn't realize at that time who she was. You know, I'm just meeting her for the first time. I didn't recognize the name. I knew she had been involved with ISMI, with the International Society. And so I knew she was well known, but I didn't understand quite the import that she has here in Kenya. One of the very first things that she asked me was what time I was born. And I didn't know. I had no idea. And she said, I must know what time you were born. You have to tell me what time. So I had to text my mother right there in the room to find out what time I was born so that she could give me my Kenyan name, which I still have, Omolo. So I am very grateful to Professor Akuno for giving me my Kenyan name right at the very beginning. I know that she needs no introduction in this room. I was surprised in that first meeting to hear everyone around me call her mama. I thought she must have so many children. I don't understand how she can possibly do that. But I've come to understand how much of a mother she is to music education here in Kenya. And I've had several opportunities to interact with her over the years, including, I will point out, this conference that I was just speaking about. 4 years ago, we held in Germany, and Professor Akuno provided a wonderful keynote session at that conference. We were very grateful to have her there. So I'm very pleased to be able to speak about her briefly. I hope she'll be joining us soon. Okay.
A very good morning to you all. Am I audible?
Prof, give us a minute.
Prof, we are ready
Okay.
to hear you. One moment.
All right.
Maybe we are not ready to hear you. We're working on it.
I can hear you though.
We are connecting your audio to our speaker so that everybody can hear you.
Asante
Just one moment. Thank you for your patience, Professor.
as well.
We'll be there.
Yes, let me know when I should start
Now we
talking.
can
And
hear you.
okay,
are.
do you want
Okay, I think
do you
we're
want
ready
to
for you. Please go
confirm?
ahead, Prof.
Do you want to confirm that my screen is also visible to yourselves?
Please, we can see it.
Thank you, and good something, people at home. It is 4 o'clock at home. Good morning this afternoon, or good afternoon this morning. Professor Marshall, it's great seeing you. We were here just the other day, and I was really excited to know what you're going to present, though I didn't sit in the room. But it was also good to hear Michelle give us a presentation on her own experience. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I'm glad to be here. I was given a topic towards policy innovation and cultural governance for the creative economy. And because I have been talking about context, content, and process, and communal value acquisition, I had to add that in there. Let me first start by saying a really big thank you for the Kenya Music Festival to still remember that we do exist. It is very easy to be bracketed out of activities, and I am glad to be here. So to the executive committee, asanteni sana. Thank you to Jackie for not sleeping. I realized that she sends me messages at very odd times of the 24-hour thing. And thank you, Jackie, for just making sure that I am here. I was already running away and she said, Mommy, don't go. So I'm back here. Now, the last time we spoke, colleagues, we were at the workshop, and my concluding remarks were that KMF is a site for growth. It is an avenue that government uses to nurture learners in expressive arts, and it also serves as a learning platform for many, including trainers and composers. And I think part of what Hanning has just been talking about really grounds that, and I'm so glad that you talked about it, Prof. But today I want us to look inwards in order to articulate the framework, where the framework is a frame where work happens, a framework for sustainable meaning, practice, and development. I want to just mention something, that the creative economy is a knowledge economy because it deals with information of diverse forms and the management of that information for growth. I'd like you to just put a finger on that one. So what is this context, content, process? It's not a dialogue, I'm sorry, it's a trialogue. Ooh. It is a trialogue. Content, context, content, process, trialogue. And I want us to consider that in order for us to know the arts, to know music, because we cannot be developing policies around things that we do not know, can we? And I've mentioned this before, so you're probably bored to hear this, that the context determines the content. I've given examples in the past how the space has a way of defining what happens in that space. In the arts, what are our contexts? These are the spaces and circumstances of our existence. And this is the art and science of living, of being, i.e., this is culture. Zaki calls it from the cradle to the grave, Nketia calls it the crisis of life. And I think somewhere I say it's the important and not so important happenings in our existence. And for me, that is the context of our art. Then what becomes the content? And knowing that that content will articulate the processes of that art. The content elsewhere, I write about a three-mode view of music, and I talk of music as a concept, the idea in your head. For me, in music, I conceive it as sound. For the dancers, maybe you feel it as movement. For the performing artists, theater, do you see it as a scene? For the writers, do you see it as a story? It's still in your head, very safe, very safely there because you've not shared it with anybody. The moment you let it out, it becomes an object, a work of art. Very well-defined elements, whether in terms of duration, whether in terms of pitch, whether in terms of the texture of the timbre, its weight, its character, whether in terms of its tempo, how fast is it moving, or what dynamics does it have. But it is something that is measurable. It can be discerned. It can be manipulated in order to change what it is communicating. That is the content. And that content has all of these things that interact one with another to give us its processes. But the art is also an event, an activity, action that has meaning, that has value to those who make it, that creates cultural capital for its makers, for its, because it is an experience. And then thirdly, that I mentioned that the content articulates the processes. What are these processes? These are the things, the internal relationships within that work of art that tell us how to handle it. This is the interaction of the component parts, the relationships that create the substance and meaning, or also the formats, the structures that enable us to learn and to present and to perform the arts. I talked about something else, the communal value acquisition. The arts are communal. It's never a solo endeavor. There's always some collaboration, something that is shared. Whether somebody composed it and now you're performing it, you are only interpreting what was in their mind. And the communality of the arts is not simply by ownership, but it is also through meaningfulness to the community. The arts are participatory. Like you could be praising somebody, there could be a commentary. An example that I gave recently, we hosted some guests from the Netherlands at the university, and we had two teams of musicians. And you know how you walk about and you say where you come from. And one of them learned that I came from Game, and immediately that became part of her song. I already participated in the composition of that new song. But there's value. Our arts have value. They're not just a distraction. They're not a pastime. They're imbued with meaning, with value by the community that make them. And so you who make and who facilitate it, that value is also associated with you. It is extended to you. So you acquire value based on the significance of your art to the community. I'm supposed to be talking about policy innovation. And I need to read these verbatim. That if you consider policy as the framework for action, as the commitment, as the rules and guidelines that provide solid support for decisions and provision of a dependable program or plan, policy as the anchor for our declarations about arts education, and for our provisions for arts and arts education, excuse me, then policy must rely on and speak to the context, the purpose, and it must be discernible in its iteration, and it must be aimed at a well-stated outcome. Usually we have some very standard policy statements. They could just be positions, excuse me, There could be statements that shield something, that kind of protect something that we think we hold dear, often a desired status. Yet life has its dynamics, and living within these dynamics require that we shift, and we have a shiftable framework. And that needs to be the context of our operation. That is life. It changes. However subtle the change must be. So our policy statements must acknowledge these shifts, these changes. No wonder we are talking about policy innovation. So I think that policy innovation is a very diplomatic way of asking for radical changes in our considerations, in our perceptions, and in our expectations of the economy, the creative economy, so that the contributors, yourselves and myself, are considered for what we are, what we bring in, and not just what we want the contributors to be or to contribute to the economy. We want the policy to regard the artists, the creative economists, as who they are, as what they are. We need to dig into what it is that they bring in, not to prescribe what they should be. And so a policy statement that begins from what is, i.e., from support, from culture, that supports its being, that accommodates transformation to meet societal needs, is what the creative economy might need. It should be solid in its support, yet liquid enough to flow around any obstacles that there might be. Can such a policy scenario be created for the creative economy? I dare say not can, but must be created. But first, we've got to know what constitutes that economy, and therefore the content that I talked about. The context determines the content. The content dictates the processes, and the processes articulate how we should engage with the art. It is therefore the processes of these arts that must guide us in stating our policies. Why policy? In order to anchor activity, to anchor creativity, to anchor performance, all of that. But what policy? It needs to be linked to the place of the arts in society. But perhaps for now, I'm more concerned with our policies right now appear to be concerned more with copyright issues, perhaps because of finances, but they should guide the definitions and understanding of what the arts are, of what the creative economy is to our community. When do we generate policies? Usually when there's a crisis. But I think policies should also anticipate crisis. By whom should these policies be developed? Usually, the government must pass the policies, but I think at our own level, that is nationwide policies, but I think at our own levels, as a society, as a community of artists, can we not develop policies that govern our own conduct? Can we not self-police? Can we not self-censor? Can we not self-regulate? What do we do with the autonomy and rights that are enshrined in the Constitution as artists? Then for whom and for what are we developing the policies? We have policies for the practice which regulate and articulate the rights and privileges. Teaching and learning are not so well covered in very blatant or very clearly articulated policies, to my understanding. Probably seen more as the responsibility of somebody. But there is usually a tussle around the need to be very articulate on indigenous knowledge and its art forms and practices. And I think we should have very clear policies around that as well. We have governance issues, and these are governance issues in the industry, especially in the cultural industry. These need to be cushioned and seriously emboldened in policy articulation. Who is responsible and who is accountable? What is the chain of command or line of responsibility and duty? How far is far enough in the quest for equity and reasonable expectations in the industry with respect to public support and expectations? So, policy innovations for cultural governance, culture, that information of socio-political significance, not for display, but for service. a complex phenomenon of relationships and collaboration that serve purposes beyond its being. Culture is the contexts, the contents, and the processes that demarcate, accommodate, and articulate our existence. What is the context for policy innovations? Culture. It is that space, it is the language, and the vehicle for decisions for the creative world. It provides not only materials, but also justification for the arts practice and business. What is the content of the policy? Culture is the content. These would be articulation of regulations, provisions, and rules that govern the practice of and education in the disciplines that comprise the creative economy. The content is also the structures, the systems that are designed to cater for the context of practice. Then what are the processes of policy? In my opinion, that is the whole issue of cultural governance. The procedures, activities, and institutions must emerge out of the structures and systems that I've just mentioned above. In summary, friends, policy and governance are not a mirage. They are a construct of the makers and users, the players in the arts arena, you and I. They are agreed upon, but must have a source, a proponent, and must reveal or demonstrate the community's beliefs about itself and about value. Art's communal value is tied to the context of its making and the role that it plays within that context. The creation and performance policies and governance structures of the arts must have this communal value in mind so that we practice with the aim of attracting or generating or posting high communal value. This is a factor of the value that the community places on their art, which is a part of their selves. I'm saying their selves because indeed you are an artist because of the art that comes out of you. And since you cannot give what you do not have, then art must be part of your nature. And this art must be accommodated in policy and governance structures and policies. How do we go about that? First, let's know the community that we intend to serve through our art, through our creative economy. Let us articulate and understand the context so that we can systematically draw out the content whose processes we can then craft based on the drawn content. Let us be faithful to the context, content, process, relationships, and collaboration in the articulation of policies and governance structures for the industry or for the sector. And then let us engage with the practice in order to understand it and to appreciate how policy matters and the day-to-day management and administration work. Let us engage with the practice. Let us not distance ourselves from practice. Therefore, we would get content for policy and governance by being in the practice. Let us make time for communal activities so that we develop perspectives that will anchor policy and development. In conclusion, the context, content, and process drive the creative economy agenda. The communal value acquisition positions it in the community that it is to serve and from which it derives its significance. The policy statements and governance structures for the industry must speak to the community's values and aspirations. This can only happen when they grow out of the community's experiences and expectations. And we must therefore continually look inwards to draw content for our regulations and practice. Gentle ladies and men, I thank you.
And practice. That's something that's very important for us all to keep in mind, because I know that sometimes when we try to make our own policy changes or when we try to encourage policies to happen, sometimes it's easy to focus on individual processes. It's easy to focus only on the small thing that we think should change. And when we don't consider that within the larger structures of the content that we work and within the larger context of how the content is used, then we can sometimes come to conclusions, I think, that are not in alignment, as Professor said, with our values and with our aspirations. And so we want to make sure that we're always considering those larger contexts, both ourselves, but also as we communicate with those who make the policies that are larger than us. Professor has been rather brief, so we have again some moments for questions, if there are any questions or comments anyone would like to share. I'm not seeing any hands, Professor Akuno. I think you've educated us very well.
I have a question.
So thank you
I have a
very much
question.
for your presentation. Yes, please.
Marshall, I have a question. What policies do we have for the practice in our institutions? Have we developed policies that govern or that guide or that anchor the arts in our individual institutions? And if we have not, why not?
Not given me another 30 minutes to answer that question. So maybe we'll pose that to the audience to consider. But I think it's a very valuable question because I think you're right. In many cases, there are not explicit policies. It's an understood practice. And perhaps having something that's a little bit more contextual would be more valuable for us. We have one more round of appreciation for Professor Akuno. Thank you very much, Professor, for your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you so
I will
much.
turn the microphone back over to Dr. Kibabii.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hanning. I know it was an ambush, but you've done it very well. We really appreciate it. I want to thank Professor for taking her time. She was actually clearing from where she is to leave, but she has actually taken time to be with us. And Prof, you've really educated us. That reminds me of what used to happen in school. She used to teach us like that. And that is why we are quite philosophical in thought and speech at times. She says that we need to think policy. She asks if we have policies. What I can say is that we mostly in our institutions, Prof, we have arts-related policies, that there are policies that relate to the arts. We don't exactly have policies that speak directly to the arts. And then our other question is that, why then don't we have the policies? Maybe we needed an eye-opener like your presentation today, so that we know that we do not have policies and therefore we need to pay attention to that. If I were given permission, I would actually ask Professor to spearhead the process so that we start making policies that are on the arts. Is that okay, Prof? Thank you very much.
Thanks, child.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Prof. We are waiting for her in Kenya. Whatever time she reaches, we have no problem. Okay, the next presenter is Kevin. Kevin, please come over.
Naimba vitu gani hizo? Ni vitu gani hizo?
Kimani Kahuro, sorry, Kevin, is a very good friend of mine. And this friend of mine is one person that I always thank God to have ever met him, because of the value that she has added to my life and the lives of my friends and people around me. Kevin is an accomplished cultural leader and expert in international cultural relations and arts management, with over 15 years of experience in Kenya and across the global creative economy. He currently serves as a manager of programs and business development at the Kenya Cultural Center, incorporating the Kenya National Theatre. He is also the Secretary General of the African Theatre Union. Kevin also leads the Festival and Market Development Unit at the Southern African Producers and Artistic Directors Conference, that is SAPAC, where he advances regional collaboration, festival networks, and sustainable market systems for the performance of arts across Africa. He is the founder of several transformative platforms, including the Kenya International Theatre Festival, which is called the KIT Fest, and the Kenya Theatre Awards, the Creative Arts Leadership Institute, KALI, where he serves as the managing director. Through these initiatives, he has played a pivotal role in expanding access to platforms, strengthening creative capacity, and fostering audience development across the region. As a scholar practitioner, Kevin is currently pursuing his PhD in arts management, and he also holds both bachelor's and master's degrees in film and theatre arts from Kenyatta University. His work bridges practice, policy, and research with a strong focus on cultural policy development, creative entrepreneurship, and international cultural exchange. Kevin has represented Kenya in leading global platforms such as IETM, that is International Network for Contemporary Performing Arts, the OECD Summer Academy, and the Global Cultural Relations Program. Academy. Kevin is also a recognized voice in East Africa's cultural policy landscape and is deeply committed to shaping inclusive, innovative, and sustainable creative ecosystems that position African artists and cultural institutions within global markets. Ladies and gentlemen, can we put our hands together for Kevin so that we welcome him to talk to us on the topic that you mentioned. Clap for him kindly. Kevin, karibu sana.
Thank you very much, Daktari. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I request us to stand just for a moment. Stand and stretch. I know it is after lunch. We had ugali. Yes, so great. Yeah, just stretch. Thank you. Let's have our seats. I'm Kevin. My topic was inventions and interventions, social media platforms as emerging spaces for arts marketing and cultural dissemination. As you have been told, I work in the creative sector and I'm really passionate about the arts. And my work purely has been focused on the arts, and I'm one of the beneficiaries of this topic in terms of inventions and interventions. As a young founder, when I was starting the Kenya International Theatre Festival, we couldn't afford to pay for marketing. Also, being and running an international festival, you have to reach out to international audiences and international performing artists who come to be part of the festival. And this is one of the greatest things that has ever happened to me and the activities that I have run since then. So I look at how the invention of social media has led to several interventions, especially in arts marketing. Generally, marketing is very expensive, and I look at how the social media platforms has transformed art marketing, and not just art marketing, but marketing in general, and how this has also led somehow to the collapse of mainstream media. For example, how many of us here yesterday were able to watch news on TV? Only one. But, and to buy a newspaper. But most of us, chances are we were able to consume all the information we consumed but on your phone. And that is what I'll be looking at, the shift. That's what I'm calling the shift. And then what I'm framing here is how this social media has come to change things. How has it affected us as creatives, and what advantages can we take from that? And then we look at the platforms. What platforms are we speaking about, and how have these interventions come through as part of that innovation? And then look at the risks. What risks does this also present? And then lastly, we look at the framework, what principles and recommendation can we use going forward? Generally, as a country, and research has shown that in the last several years, creative arts have been contributing close to 5.6% of Kenya's GDP. But on the contrast, the government is investing less than 1% of its budget to the sector. Okay, so you've seen those dynamics. So it means the sector, as much as it's generating income and contributing to the country's economy, there is little investment that is going back to the sector. And what have small scale artists and institutions who are coming up, what measures have they put in place for them to take advantage of the inventions that have come through and to come with interventions that lead to them still selling and still contributing and earning from the art? Let's look at traditional TV and how it's losing its grip. In 2024, viewership was at 63, but that dropped last year to 57. And what this has done is that platforms like DSTV, as we know it, between mid-2024 to early this year, they lost more than 80% of their subscribers. So what does that mean? People are not paying for TV. GoTV has also lost a lot of people, and most of them are even shutting down and moving out of the market. And DSTV, were it not for football and the Premier League, will not be surviving this date. So there is a lot of, and why is this so? Because there is a lot of content that has come with the phone, and a lot of people are able to access this information, mostly free of charge or without, with very minimal costs. Right now, I think you can watch Netflix a whole month for just 300 shillings. So it shows you how affordable this content has been. The other day, the president said that Kenya is using a lot of AI. You remember that day when he said he called the owner of AI? So Kenyans are spending 4 hours and 13 minutes on social media. It is the highest in the world. We are the highest social media users in the world as we speak, as Kenyans. That's why people, if they attack you on X, then you're not lucky. Then we have over 18.4 million active social media accounts, and phone penetration and smartphone penetration is more than the population. So the mobile connection is actually 130% plus of the population. So that, let me put that into, if we are 55 million, we have more than 80 million mobile phones, okay? So there is a market there already. So what has this led to? So in my invention, I'm speaking of a new low-cost, high-reach infrastructure. This is what social media is bringing. It is on your phone, it is there, it is simple, and it exists. But it didn't exist, but this is something that has just come in the last few years. It is free to publish, it is immediate, and it is instant, and you can do it wherever you are. The interventions that I'm looking at is the deliberate practice adopted by artists, festivals, and organizations or institutions. In this case, for this study, I'm looking at it from that point. So just artists, festivals, and institutions or organizations to solve structured marketing and funding gap that broadcast media and public investors left unaddressed. So those is that how have we been able to take advantage of what is there to ensure that we market ourselves and market what we have. The mechanism, how does this invention work? It works with algorithm, as it has been mentioned throughout the day. I think it started with Dr. Otoyo, then we had the AI presentation both by Onyancha and the lawyer, and they were looking at how do we use this. It is an algorithm that is able to push your product to whoever it can, and it is not a broadcast. It is not like at 7 p.m. or your advert will run at 7:15, but it is there throughout, and throughout whenever the person who is being targeted opens their phone, they'll be able to see it. And it works in a weird way. Have you ever wondered when you're hungry, you'll receive an advert, Burger King, chips, just when you're hungry, because also your phone is listening to you. So that's how it works. So it gives you what you need and is able to just target you specifically, your age, whatever you want at whatever moment. And then it has two options. It can be organic, where you just post. It can also be paid, so you can post and pay so that it reaches a wider number of people. You can target, if you're targeting between 24 and 18 years, it can go specific to them. It can even target, you just want people in Bungoma, or you can even target, you want people in the US. So it can be paid and targeted. And then it also has a network effect. So if I'm able to see what Professor Iribe has posted, and then I post it, then it moves from his network and goes to my network completely. So that's how it works. And why artists are choosing it. Number one, it's free to publish. Paying for it is not as expensive. Right now, if you want to run an advert on, say, Citizen during prime time, how much do you think you will pay? Roughly, just a minute of an advert, prime time.
800,000.
$1 million, yes, thereabout. But with $1 million on social media, you can reach millions and millions of people, and that advert can run even for a month with $1 million. Because I think with even 2,000, you can run an advert that can reach over, I said, 20,000 people in like a week's time. So it's very cheap. And here you're able to select. And unlike a broadcast where it goes to everyone who is watching, and the most important figures Citizen or NTV will give you, we have this number of viewership. But in that viewership, it cannot segregate, because it cannot tell you at this time is parents watching. So it goes to everyone. But with this one, you're able to target. If you just want mobile users who are between age 18 and 20, it will be able to target them and give them that advert. It is precise. It goes with speed, has no gatekeeper. You don't need to go to negotiate with the marketing manager. You see, negotiate, you're told it has already, this company has taken space, so you have to wait for a week for us to do that. Yeah, and then it's very easy to measure, and it is immediate. Like if you just go on social media, let me just see if I have one. It can be able to show you what you want and at what point you want it. So for example, if I go to exit my presentation. The projector has gone on sleep mode. It's me. anyway, if I would have been able to show you, so it can tell you who is viewing, are they your followers, are they not your followers? It can give you your percentage. So you can even be able to target those people who are also not your followers. Able to show you that. Just continue, because if I go to that mode, it disappears. So yeah, it is measurable, and then it meets the audience where they already spend their attention. So if people are users of Facebook, they'll be there, and that advert will meet them there. What are the different platforms? We are looking at Instagram. It's good for visual storefront. So this one is good for production, stills, posters, behind the scenes, anticipation building, like preparing for an event. Then we have TikTok. This one it's a viral engine. So it is very good with dance challenges, short clips ahead of an official rollout and something, showing highlights of a festival. And then we have Facebook. Facebook is good for events and community, and it has one of the largest databases and reach, and it also reaches an older audience, and it is best platform for selling products. Instagram is best for selling events and such. TikTok is good with challenges, and then WhatsApp is very good with conversion, because here you have a direct one-on-one message. And then X right now is one of the biggest, formerly known as Twitter. It is good with real-time updates, events. This is where a lot of people are able to get news from. So if I'm able to know, if I want to know what is happening in the country right now, I'll just go to X, look at who is trending, number one, number two, so I'm informed, and I move on. Here I want to look at case studies of people who've been able to use it successfully. I'm sure right now, if I ask you, do you know the song Mboka? Have you heard Mboka? Yeah, Mboka is a song by Major. So Major has come up with very interesting marketing technique. So he will release an audio, and before he produces his official music video, he will ask people to do a challenge. And if you're successful in the challenge, he will feature you in his music video. So a lot of people are producing online content. So they are, number one, they are spreading his song. Everyone now is able to know the song, about the song, what it is about, because he's promoting. Boka is a song about day-to-day hustle. So whatever you do, your job, how you spend your job. So he says, he brags and he says he's good at sales. He can even sell you ice cream when it's raining. So, and so it is promoting people's work. So a lot of people have recorded footage at their work and then uploaded it in the hope that they'll be selected by Major to feature in his music video. And what that has done, it has raised his profile. So the moment the music video, people will be waiting to see who made it to the music video. So like in his last video, it was called Siaka. I don't know if you've heard Siaka. Siaka. So the moment it was released, it had over 280 million views in a day, because a lot of people were waiting for that. So that is a success story in how you can use social media to market your product. And I gave you my example from growing a festival from a 2-day festival to receiving close to 10, 15 teams every year, just by marketing through Facebook. And what I used to do is I used to go and look for theater communities on Facebook, and I post the call for application, and then people will see the call and they will apply to be part of the festival. So it's just targeting, and I did all this for free. I never paid for any advert. So also taking advantage of that. Then the other people I wanted to highlight are people like Sauti Sol, who over time, they have not gone for the viral concept, but they have built something consistent. And to date, their YouTube channel has over 1.2 million subscribers, not viewers, subscribers. So it means that when they release something on their channel, the 1.2 million people will get a notification instantly. And what this has done is that they earn over 4.5 million every month based on revenue from YouTube, on just YouTube alone. And what this does is people are able now to watch their music just on YouTube. If you want any Sauti Sol, you don't have to wait for any time to go and watch it, as opposed to traditional TV. Anytime you go there, you are able to watch. The other case study I want to highlight is Blankets and Wine. In the year 2005, they sold just one event over 10,000 tickets, and one ticket was going for 3,000. The cheapest ticket was going for 4,500, and that event was attended by over 10,000 people. It is one night event. So in just ticket sales, and they never advertised on TV. Everything, selling tickets, everything was online. So using social media platforms. In just one night, they made over, I've seen you've calculated. Yes, more than 40 million. That is just ticket sales. You've not counted sponsorships. You've not counted vendors who are there, and it was a big event. So in one day, they easily grossed over 80 million, easily. And this happens, and all these people are doing these events and concerts, and they are being marketed purely online. You won't see an advert of, say, Angemi Festival, the Kikuyu Festival called Ngemi. You'll never see their advert on TV, but the events are sold out. You'll never see, for example, Mkisi Festival anywhere on TV, but the events are sold out. So it tells you the power in which these platforms and these inventions have brought. What they will not solve, of course, they'll not solve everything. They'll give you income, they'll give you marketing, they'll give you publicity. What they'll not solve is the digital divide. As we know, as a country, as much as we have 130 phone penetration, is not everyone who is able to access data, is not everyone who has this smartphone. So again, they're not reaching everyone. So if you solely rely on them, there are people who will always be left out. So there are people who don't have that connectivity. So we need ways in which we have to reach them. The other point is that the other problem that is platform dependency. Number one, we do not own the platform. As an artist, I do not own Facebook. You do not own Facebook. It is not your platform, and it works on algorithm. So if Facebook today decided to change the algorithm not to favor you, you'll have to start again to build another audience, because it is an algorithm. So it is also important because it is their data. Like, I remember when I started using Facebook, I would easily get an organic reach of 10,000. Right now, even if you do what, you cannot get an organic reach of even 2,000. It's very difficult. Organic reach is how many people reach your post without you paying. Because it is a business for them, and they control the algorithm. They will control people who view. So that when you go to your page, you will view a lot of things. But if there's something you want people to view, it will not be brought to the front. Again, it's algorithm. So for you to reach them, continue paying them, and for them to continue earning from you, you have to pay. Okay? So again, it's algorithm. So we need to know that platform dependency is a big problem. And then resourcing and burnout. For you to continuously do this, you need skills, you need resources, you need skilled people. Because if I see content by character X, and I'm able, and how it works, and if you are a user of TikTok and you see a video, spend a minute or two on it, you don't have to finish. But the next time, if you spend, because it's algorithm, you spend a minute or two on that video, chances are 50% chances after 2 or 3 videos, you'll get a similar video. Okay? Because it has seen that is where your interest is. So it will tailor things that you like. So that is how it works. So that is why we asked, whenever you go to social media and you see content, an artist content, it is good to at least watch. Because if you scroll, chances are everyone will scroll and it will never appear on your page again. So it's very important to also understand that. And then weak measurement, again, on social media, likes and shares do not translate to ticket sales. So it is also very important to ensure that we are able to do that. And then substitution risk is also another thing. So if you continue producing and giving people free content, there's not a guarantee that they will ever buy your content on you. So that's also a risk. Practical framework, platform purpose matching. It is very important to know what you have, your product, and which platform is best to sell what you have. So if you're, for example, you're very good on reels and small and short videos, it's good to take that content to TikTok as opposed to Instagram. So you must tailor your content for a specific platform. And then it is also important to own infrastructure, especially as festivals, as organization, so that not every day that when you have an event and with the Data Protection Act, you go and ticket with TicoHub or with MOOC, you'll never get access to the people who bought those tickets. It was your event, but that data remains with the ticketing platform. So it is also very important to own these platforms. You may not own the social media platform, but you can control people where people interact with you one-on-one, like the data, audiences, and all that. And then identity over event marketing, it is very important to focus on yourself as a whole instead of one event. So that when I know this is Sauti Soul, irrespective of it is a love song, a hate song, a gospel, I have already known Sauti Soul. So don't add, it's as much as you will focus on marketing an event, it is also important to tailor that marketing for people to understand you as an organization, as a general artist. And then it is also important to make sure that you have a community that translates into your asset. Recommendation for artists and production houses, prioritize consistent platform narrative content over occasional heavy produced campaigns. For institutions and festival, it is important that we own some digital infrastructure like ticketing, audience data, direct communications with our people and our audience and our audiences, founders, investors, policymakers. It is important that we invest in the sector because the sector has very high returns. With those very many words, allow me to end there. Thank you very much. Social media is no longer a channel. It is a huge contributor to the creative economy. Asanteni.
Let's give Kevin a better clap. That is very good work done. He has spoken to us. He tells us where we belong, if we belong to Facebook, and is actually telling us whether to make decisions as to whether we should remain there or move ahead. Thank you so much, Kevin. I think we have had the lessons and we are going to take them up. So she will kindly come over. And as she comes over, we will, this is our last presenter, that is Sushma. As Sushma comes over, let's prepare for her. Distinguished there's a word that she has written here. What is this word, Sushma? Say it. Bharatanatyam. Do you think I would have said it? Why haven't you repeated after her? She's that exponent educator, choreographer, and cultural ambassador with over 28 years of experience. Has performed more than 800 stage performances across Kenya, Tanzania, India, Cambodia, and the United States. PhD scholar, Sushma holds advanced qualification in that particular that she has written, commerce, finance, business administration, and statistics and accounting. She's an accomplished researcher, presenter, and author whose work promotes Indian classical arts through education, international cultural exchange, and scholarly contributions to dance heritage. She has mentored numerous students through international performance tours and cultural immersion programs, nurturing the next generation of classic dancers. Is titled Oriental Music as an indigenous system in the festival. What we forgot to say is that Sushma is a dancer, an ardent dancer. She performs very well in a variety of dances. And what is more, she sits in the National Committee of the Kenya Music Festival in that capacity that she is in charge of Oriental music. She's just the right person to speak to us about this. Welcome, Sushma.
Thank you so much. Good evening, all. My name is Sushma Kotireddy, and to make it clear, Bharatanatyam is a classical dance form from India, and I hold a master's degree in Bharatanatyam, and I'm a trainer in Bharatanatyam. Thank you. Okay, I know I'm an accountant by profession, so accountants are known to be very stingy with money, but I'm a bit stingy with words also. If you ask me to perform, I can perform it very confidently. But words, then you'll have to keep sending me. You can extend some more time because I'll be very fast. Let me talk about my topic here today will be how much orientation in indigenous knowledge systems as foundations for artistic production and cultural integration in the festival. In this topic, my research has been limited to the festival because orientation or Oriental dance is very wide. So I have limited to what has been picked or what has been adopted or integrated with the festival of Kenya Music Festival. So my topic talks about the presence of Oriental dance or art forms in Kenya music festivals. What context of Oriental has been picked for the festival? To what extent has it been integrated with the festival? So, and then where are these information or the sources? What are the sources of this integration to the festival? This is my topic, the research about. And then we talked about the classification. How did the festival classify the classes for under this orientation or Oriental dance classes? And what are the different sources of the teaching and presentations for the respective classes? By doing this integration with the festival, are we really keeping or doing justice to the tradition-based performance or the individual interpretation of the art form, especially in terms of Oriental dance and music? This is the base of my topic. So for this, my methodology has been the observation in the festival and the data collection of the performances and the classes within the festival. So what are in the objectives of the paper? We have examined the representation of the Oriental dance forms in the festival, understanding what the knowledge systems, how are these Oriental dance forms as a knowledge systems? Are we really taking integrated into the festival of the originality or authenticity of this art forms? And then have we really identified the authenticity of these sources? Where are we getting these sources of this art forms. That was my research work. And then what is the authenticity of this? Or how is this authenticity of the art forms involved or adapted into the festival? So this was my objectives of the paper. Then to find firstly and give a definition. In my paper, I have given the detailed definition of the knowledge systems. These are the knowledge systems are the knowledge and the skills and beliefs or the values that have been developed by the communities over generations and transmitted. Dance forms or art forms or music forms are something over years had not been documented properly. These are generated or transmitted orally. So is the Oriental dance forms also. So we wanted to understand is what are the different ways of these transmission of those Oriental dance forms into the next generations. For example, I have the Guru Sishya Parampara, which is called in the Indian traditional form. So Guru is the teacher, Sishya is the student. How was the Guru and how was the knowledge of this art forms transmitted from the teacher to the student initially or in the ancient time, and how this has evolved? And how is this related to the festival? Are we really forming the same, or what is the difference between the transmission process or the knowledge sharing process within the festival? That has been my work as well. So, and then the community-based learning. In most of these Oriental forms is this is a form of where we transmit the culture of that respective Oriental form or the culture. So for example, I've also seen here in Kenya also where a dance form is in part of the dance, they show what a festival, say for example, there's a childbirth. So they transmit or they're explained through the dance form or the music form with the lyrics or anything. That's how the teachers or the kids also learn from that. The same way it happens with India also, for example. So are we really transmitting or transforming the knowledge to the next generations through these art forms or the community-based learning? So now in this research I have done is in KMF, definitely there is a limitation to what has been integrated within the festival. So I have given a brief in my paper about what are the classes or what are the different Indian dance forms which have been integrated within the festivals, and the instruments and the different classes. And are these art forms really representing the actual culturals of the Oriental forms? And then are they really talking about the tradition and the creativity of that in indigenous knowledge systems? So now, how do we identify the authenticity of a culture or of a dance form or an art form? It is mainly because of these core elements like the moves or the techniques, the rhythm, the music, or the expression, or the costumes, or the cultural context of the art form. So the technical and the interpret the depth of this art forms. So what are the challenges we are facing within this integration with the Festival of the Oriental dance forms? That is the identification of the authenticity of the art forms, and then the limited access to the sources. Where exactly are we getting the sources is mainly, I've noticed, is either YouTube or maybe a previous festival has performed the same dance, so we want to do it because they are winning, or because a particular class has won, or the only thing is what is the other source I found is only YouTube. So are we really doing justice to the access or the resources of the dance forms? Then do we have a curriculum for this art form? Is there a necessity for us to build up a curriculum for the Orientals within the festival. Maybe, yes, just to incorporate, because as I said, Orientals is very vast. So just to tailor-make it to the festival, maybe we can consider thinking about the curriculum for the festival. Then coming to the misinformation from the online platforms they are choosing. That was the main challenge I've noticed within the festival is, as I said, the main source of resource is YouTube or any other platform. So there is a lot of misinformation or misinterpretation of the source available. So there is a need for us to re-educate the trainers or the participants about the art forms. Then what are the opportunities available within the festival for the integration of the Oriental dance and music? This is the main culture is for a cultural exchange. The kids, the trainers are able to understand the different cultures of not only within Kenya, about India or even outside the Asian countries. Then what are the other opportunities? Maybe we need specific workshops to educate the trainers regarding the different art forms available. And then what are the recommendations I have proposed were a deeper cultural learning through workshops and demonstrations, and offer the teachers or the trainees development through dedicated sessions, or improve the access to the resources or cultural resources by maybe preparing a curriculum or providing a particular resource for the art forms. And then encourage for more exchange programs within the art forms. I think with that, I come to a conclusion for my paper where it talks about Oriental music and dance enriches Kenya Music Festival when preservation of authenticity and cultural understanding makes it more integration. Thank you so much.
Hey people, can we clap for Sushma? That was very, very well articulated. She's asking the question, how much Orientalism? I will not repeat anything she has said, but I want to congratulate her. That was not an easy topic. Initially, I want to reveal to her that we were supposed to do the topic together, to do that paper together. But who am I? When I saw her take it up, I took off and decided that she deals with it. And step by step, she could ask a question to a colleague, and then I answer it from the other side. The information is given to her, and she has done what she has just done. That is wonderful. I agree with you that you're asking questions that are pertinent, that there is Oriental music in the festival, isn't it? So you're asking, you asked yourself, is it present? How much presence does it have? How much airtime have we given to Oriental music? For starters, we know that we don't even know in our own festival history, we don't even know when Oriental music began to be in the festival. Do you know? We also don't know. The writings don't tell us anything. Maybe we could ask. And then the other thing is that the very Oriental music that we have may not be as much. So you're asking that we have a curriculum. You're also posing questions regarding its authenticity, so that we have many more of us participating in Oriental classes. You know what, Shushma? Because of your presence in the festival, we need to really work on these. The very questions you're asking, from the position you hold, you can be able to come up with a curriculum. You can also be able to train in order to find aspects of authenticity in it. Congratulations, that was a very, very well presented paper. Now, a round of applause for her as she moves up. I will ask Professor Iribe to come over and help in winding up, because I will just assist in singing the anthems, so he will wind up.
All of you have stayed this late. That was our last presentation for the day. we got a little late in the morning, so we may not be in a position to do any more, given that it's past 5. But tomorrow we intend to start early as 8:15. So we request that we come in early so that we end at lunch hour. We hope to complete the session early too. So thank you very much once again. And please join us early tomorrow morning and come with a friend or a colleague or an acquaintance so that we can do this together. Thank you. Daktari.
Thank you very much. Kindly let us stand up for the anthem, the national anthem. Nguvu yetu ilete baraka kwetu, haki iwe ngao na mlinzi, na tukae na undugu, amani na uhuru, raha tupate na ustawi. Let us pray. Lord, we thank you for the day of today. We thank you for what you've done for us. You've enabled us to have a successful day, a day full of knowledge from above, my dear Father. We thank you for the presenters of the day, and we also pray for the evening that Lord, you will continue guiding us as we travel, be with us, as we prepare for the day tomorrow as well, Father. Enable this to happen well. We pray for this day and even tomorrow that, Father, you'll make it successful. We pray all this believing and trusting in Jesus' name. Amen. Asanteni sana, tuonane kesho.